Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Friday night. It is March 21st, 2025, and it is time for another edition of the Ghost Files Live. I'm your host, Vincent DiSanti, here at Womp Stomp Films headquarters, checking in, getting the thing up in the corner, hoping everybody is having a wonderful second day of spring. What is it? I think we're in the second day of spring. It's starting to get warmer out there. I know I've been excited to enjoy some of this nicer weather. It was freezing here for a few weeks. But let's say hello to a few people in the chat. But before we do that, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button below this video. Subscribe. We're going to be talking about the Ghost Files. We're going to be talking about Never Hike Alone, the Final Cut campaign, which will be closing tonight on Kickstarter. We'll be talking about the upcoming Ghost in the Fog campaign, which will be launching in Indiegogo, which is actually sort of connected to this current campaign. And then we'll also be talking about fulfillments for the Never Hike Alone 2 campaign, which is in full force. We had a couple updates go out today, and we'll go over some of that in a little bit. But first, let's go over to the comments and see who's here. Crafter is here and saying congrats on 90K subscriptions. Thank you so much. Yes, that happened this week. Womp Stomp Films, I'm happy to say you guys have hit that subscribe button enough that now we have 90,000 subscribers here on the channel, waiting diligently year after year for just one more piece of Friday the 13th fan film entertainment. And a whole lot more. We have a whole lot more in store. We can get into that later on in the show tonight. So thank you, Crafter. I really do appreciate that. You guys should definitely let me shout outs and make sure you're sharing with friends. Let's get this. We're so close to 100,000. I can taste it. I think we're going to get there by the end of the year. So that's the goal for this year, is to get to that that milestone, and hopefully we'll do it. But let's see who else is here. Lamontre's here. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Mitch the Ripper always coming in, leaving some poetry and saying great things. I think they got a Never Watch Alone coming up soon. Luke J. Thomas hanging out. Tom Matthews is a legend. Yes, he is. And he will be here in Southern New England in a few weeks at Monster Expo in Fairhaven with myself, CJ Graham, Linnea Quigley, and Eugene Clark from Land of the Dead. We're all going to be there. Hey, Maggot Head, remember me? He sure does. Alley Girl, what's up? Good to see you again. Tyler Adams, VFX extraordinaire in the chat tonight. Magdalene Joe Bad. Hi, Vin. What's up, Joe Bad? How you doing? Let's see. Bruce Johnson. Dr. Bruce Johnson in the house. I did mention him last week. I think he mentioned that in the comments. I did talk about your figure, which is almost done. I was getting updates on that. So those are coming along. And I'm really excited about those. We're actually going to have a couple extra pretty soon. Johnny Horror is in here. Sam Haynes Knight is here. Tomorrow's the 40th anniversary of A New Beginning. And what a great segue. He's not in the chat yet, but I'm sure he'll drop in pretty soon. But after this podcast tonight, let me keep that up because it's related. I'm going to be jumping over to Davey Deathray's YouTube stream. We're going to be doing a live watch of Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, to celebrate the 40th anniversary as one of the most misunderstood entries to the Friday the 13th saga. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. Steve DMB is in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you. So there we go. That's funny. Now, Mitch is getting up there too. So let's dive into some updates. Let's talk about some things. Womp Stomp Films. Obviously, tonight the theme of the show is that we're going to be closing down the Never Hike Alone Final Cut campaign tonight. I want to say thank you to some of the backers who have dropped in the last week. Actually, ever since I announced that we are going to extend it a week due to me being sick last week. I'll get into that in a second. Oh, Lenny Griffin got his Blu-ray for Never Hike Alone. Woo! We're going to go over some of that stuff too, which is going to be pretty fun. Anyway, so last week I got really sick. Monday I was down for the count and I didn't really get back on my feet till Thursday. Mo caught it as well. So shipping kind of slowed down last week, but we picked back up and got that going. And since I really wanted to, send the Final Cut campaign out in style, I just decided to delay it a week, which ended up helping out. I believe right now we are about 758 backers for the campaign, which have it around $80,900, which is really, really impressive. I'm going to talk about tonight about what does that mean for the campaign tonight. Well, at midnight, well, as soon as I finish this broadcast and I move on to Davey and we watch A New Beginning and it hits midnight East Coast, I'm going to request that all pledges for the late campaign be closed. If this is like Indiegogo, there is going to be a slight delay. It could happen instantaneously. So if there's anything you want to grab off of the campaign tonight, like there's something you saw that was only an add-on, you have till tonight. You can message me on the board. I will do it live. I will add things to the campaign tonight just so people can pick things up and you can jump in and grab what you want. I've actually put up some sweatshirts. I put up t-shirts. I put up beanies as their own things. I actually just put up for Kaid and Richie the theatrical posters. So those are going to be up. Those are the 27 by 40 theatrical posters out of I believe you have one of 4 to select. And we may even, do a 5th if we're a lot of fun. But that's basically just going to shut it down for the Kickstarter campaign for now. Right now, I would say right off the bat that we're not going to necessarily be jumping right into Ghost in the Fog with the additional funds that were raised with the campaign. I do want to remind everyone that Kickstarter does take a percentage. There is a percentage that needs to go towards shipping, and I do need to protect that sort of stack of cash that can't be dug into. And so really what we've raised in the post campaign really hasn't done much for Ghost in the Fog, just because we're going to be jumping into some other things. I decided with the funding that we did have, you have 2 options in crowdfunding, and let this be sort of a adjunct side crowdfunding update as well. If you ever want a tip on how to do this, sometimes when you have a project and you don't have enough money for that project, like we do with, we didn't like hit the immediate goal. Like let's say the Kickstarter, before we hit, our first deadline, that we hit both goals. Now you're working with, enough excess funding, understanding you have a late pledge campaign that can raise more funding, which late pledge is another thing we can kind of get into. You feel a little bit more confident about launching things, but as things trickle in towards the end, you sort of figure out there are 2 options. You can either try to get something made with little funds, which will probably turn out to be something not quite of what you wanted, or you can figure out a way to invest those funds in something you already got going on, and sort of use that to amplify and maybe raise more money down the line. And so that's what we're going to be doing with the Ghost in the Fog Indiegogo campaign, which will be launching on April 15th, which, yes, that moved back another week due for a couple of reasons. One, I did get that illness and I lost about a week's worth of work getting that campaign ready. I was actually just recently cast in something that I can't talk about, but I will be traveling to another state at the beginning of April to go shoot 2 days on a film to play some creature work, which is going to be really, really cool. From April 10th to the 14th, or from April 10th to the 13th in New Bedford, Massachusetts, we're going to be doing the New Bedford Film Festival. So we're going to be busy for the next few weeks. And I want to make sure that when things do launch, those things happen properly. So we pushed that launch back to April 15th to give me time to just get the pre-launch campaign get some of the information out. We're going to release a press release soon with some updates on that and go from there. Right now with the Kickstarter campaign, mostly what we're trying to do is just give anyone an opportunity to grab a VHS tape, which there will be no VHS tapes on the next round of campaigns until all the VHS tapes are completed for this current campaign. I'm not going to be releasing any new VHS tapes, so you want to pre-order those now if you haven't had any of them. Anything as far as like a legacy Blu-ray or Final Cut Blu-ray, those things are going to carry over to this campaign. Those are going to be all part of the same production of Blu-ray production that's coming up, which is where our funds from the current campaign are currently being invested into. We're going to be investing in doing that brand new batch of Blu-rays, which I will talk a little bit more in a little bit. And then, like I said, there's going to be no more Final Cut sweatshirts. There's going to be no more Final Cut t-shirts. There's going to be no more Final Cut posters or things like that, where it's really going to trim down to a few designs that are in the works with a good friend of mine, Josh Bemis, who did the artwork for the Final Cut. He's doing 3 brand new shirts for Never Hike Alone. They're all going to be long sleeves. I know that long sleeve is sort of in with the horror crowd right now. So we designed 3 really rad long sleeve t-shirts that you're going to have your options to pick from. We're going to be releasing new special edition versions of the Never Hike Alone library as well. And this is maybe official. I think I said it last time I was on, but we are going to do a box set. Yes, you've heard it here first or second. If you weren't here last week and you're hearing it this week, the Ghost in the Fog campaign is going to feature a box set, which you can grandfather into by backing the Kickstarter campaign. If you pick the Camp Collector perk, which is the $150 perk that gets you all 5 Never Hike Alone Blu-rays, that's Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow, Never Hike Alone 2, Never Hike Alone, the Ghost Cut, the 2.5-hour version that's getting repressed, and the current version of what we're going to create with the Final Cut. 5 Blu-rays in one package, wrapped in a box with special artwork done by Josh Beamish, which he's working on now, that we will unveil on the show in a few weeks to let everybody see what that is. But it's going to be all brand new artwork on the outside, all brand new artwork on the discs. The discs are all being built from scratch with brand new exports of the films. There's going to be opportunities for new voiceover tracks, so fan commentary. We're going to open up fan commentary, not to just we already did it for the Final Cut, but we're reopening it up for the Ghost Cut, the Ghost Cut, Never Hike in the Snow, and Never Hike Alone. Never Hike Alone 2 is the only disc that's going to be grandfathered in, since it was the first disc that we created with disc makers. We don't need to remake that one. The other 4 discs we need to remake, and so the funds that were raised with the Final campaign are going into creating the special edition Never Hike Alone Blu-ray. So what does that mean for people who backed the previous campaigns? Well, the Final Cut campaign, you're all getting the brand new special editions. So you're not getting the legacy editions. Those things are going to basically run out during the Never Hike Alone 2 campaign. Everyone is going to be grandfathered in. If you picked a legacy Blu-ray from this campaign, you're going to get the legacy version, which is going to appear actually on a black disc, which actually, hang on a second. Let me just reach into my magic box of stuff here and randomly grab. So let's say like this is Never Hike Alone 2. It's going to come in a black disc like that, in a black case like this. So the entire box set is going to have 5 black case discs in here. It will have a brand new cover that's going to be done by Josh Beamish. It's not going to look like this. This is just one of the alternate covers that you could have got in one of the previous campaigns. I still have more of these if you want them. I just want Fanboy 2, honestly. I do want to do Fanboy 2, but Deb said I'm going to have to shave my head, and I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about that, Alley Girl? Anyway, so it's going to be 5 black discs wrapped in a thing, brand new artwork, and those are going to be, individually sold, and then obviously sold as a package. So if you pick the Camp Collector perk, you're going to be grandfathered into the box set, which is going to be sold for roughly the same price on the next campaign. Now, let's say you have all 5. You bought the Final Cut campaign. You were here for all the previous campaigns, and you purchased, Never Hike Alone, Never Hike Alone 2. You have all the first editions, or you have all the second editions, or you have whatever. We're also just going to sell the box for pretty cheap. I mean, I got to figure out how much the box costs. And we'll release that to people so they can just put their 5 Blu-rays in. They don't feel like they have to double dip. But we wanted to make this next pressing of Never Hike Alone that if we had to repress them, we might as well make the improvements that we've always wanted to make on the original disc, or like things that we've learned about how to arrange the discs, especially working with disc makers and the things we can do with them. We've also accumulated more subtitles over the years. So we'd like to add subtitles to those discs that we didn't have before. And add additional short films that weren't on there before. But obviously the main reason for selling all of this stuff is so that on the Final Cut Blu-ray, we can add Ghost in the Fog. Ghost in the Fog is going to be the main. So the goal for the campaign right now is $50,000, since we're starting from scratch. A majority of that money is going right to make Ghost in the Fog. It's going to set into production, and we're going to do that. I will announce tonight, without making any visual announcements or kind of anything like that, I've officially cast Zoran and Chelsea from Dead Meat. They will be acting in Ghost in the Fog, taking over the roles of Brandon and Lana, which is actually named after one of our backers from the last campaign. They will be joined by Diego Valenzuela, who is a veteran voice actor. He did work for Transformers and Call of Duty and a whole bunch of other stuff. This guy's been doing it forever. He's also one of the co-writers on Ghost in the Fog, one of the collaborators with Mako Animation, with my co-director Juan Rivera, and also Rubia Moss, who is going to be working with us to help us create 3D environments and we're going to mix 3D and 2D together to create our environments and sort of cut down on some of the costs, which is going to be really, really cool. So going back to the the Final Cut campaign. The reason why we're shifting over to Indiegogo is that I discovered sort of too late in the process that with Kickstarter, that once we send out our surveys, our backers aren't allowed to get anything new from the campaign. So this idea of doing the box set and releasing these new t-shirts and sort of having all of these things, these were all originally planned for the Kickstarter. And I had these in motion before I decided to do this. But because backers weren't going to be able to add, and they'd have to add a second account or do anything like that, I just thought it would be easier to shift this all over to Indiegogo, run their own campaign. And the idea is that we run a flexible campaign. So if we raise $50,000, we did it. We have, what we need to get Ghost in the Fog done. We go and we make it good. If we don't raise it, well, we open up the opportunity for people to still get the box set, still get those things that they can order. We'll go through the manufacturing process, which is going to cost a ton of money as well, and then ship all that stuff out around the world. We'll still take care of that. We still are planning to get the Final Cut cut by this summer. We want to release it by August and get everything shipping by this fall. We've already ordered t-shirts. We've already ordered the sweatshirts. I already have all the pins. I haven't ordered the posters, but those are actually a really easy thing to throw together. We just needed to finish up with the campaign to make sure everybody's credits are in the right place. Aside from that, there's a handful of things like Kaiden is already, midway through making all of those NECA type figures for Ghost Jason. So all of that stuff is already in progress and we're doing really, really well there. I just needed to get everything over to Indiegogo to give people an opportunity to add things like the box set, to realize that these things are going to turn over, and to actually show people what these things are going to look like. We figured we'd get a fresh start. And Indiegogo, going back and forth again as a lesson, if you want to crowdfund, you should really know how to crowdfund in multiple different platforms. You don't necessarily have to stick to one or the other. It comes down to personal preference. Each of them really has their, own pluses and minuses. I really enjoyed the way that Kickstarter ran the main campaign, but I actually favor Indiegogo in the late campaign stage of everything, because Indiegogo allows me to build you custom perks, and you can back it as many times as you like. Let's say 3 months from now we come up with another idea, another figure comes out, or a few more things are left that I have left over from the Never Hike Alone 2 campaign, like extra figures or extra masks. Those things can go right up on the Indiegogo campaign, and you can add those to your orders at any time. So I feel like that's sort of the best way to approach it as we're doing that. So as we're getting ready to fund Ghost in the Fog, and I'll get to any questions that are happening in the chat sort of after all of this speech. And if you really want to ask a question and you want me to see it for sure, make sure you use the super chat feature. The super chat feature will guarantee that I will see, like, as soon as I turn over, I have a super chat tab. It will just line everything up for me right there. I won't have to scroll through and try to find your question. And I would prefer that you guys did that instead of trying to throw stuff at me. I'm not trying to be a wank about it. I'm just saying for everyone's best interest, because I have ADHD and I may not see it or see it when I scroll back. I see Danny, you just asked a question. I'll come back to that in a little bit. But let me finish up with kind of where we're at. So we'll be in Indiegogo. It's going to help us out as far as being able to allow backers to back multiple times if they need to. I wanted to get into the stretch goal. So now, obviously with the addition of adding the Dead Meat cast, which is going to be really, really awesome. Hopefully we can really boost this campaign. The idea is that we can do Ghost in the Fog, get that done, but there's also an opportunity for us to add one more scene to Never Hike Alone 2. There's the, I've talked about it before, the house party massacre scene, which has a bunch of wild kills. Again, we would cast our friends from Dead Meat. They would be the main stars of that film. It would drop right into the middle of Never Hike Alone 2. It would not go on the Never Hike Alone 2 disc, but it would be only on the Final Cut Blu-ray. We'd film it this summer. We'd, give Ghost Jason one last ride, bring him back from the dead, and murder a bunch of people at a house party before he gets to the hospital, which would be really, really fun. So there are some really cool reach goals there. Eventually during the campaign, we will be launching that Never Hike Alone NES Sega Genesis style well, actually the NES style Friday the 13th video game style game that will be released on the campaign at some point as well. That will be a direct download that you can for the game. In fact, I believe it was sent to me. I downloaded it and I need to test it. God, that's a good reminder for me right there. Oh, Davey's here. Hey man, I threw out a shout out to what we're doing after this. And if you could email me a link to jump on when I'm done here in about 40-ish minutes, I'm going to take I'm going to wrap here. I'm going to take a 5 just to get some water and wash my face, come back. And then we'll jump into some Friday the 13th part 5 goodness. So Ghost in the Fog campaign is going to have all those awesome things. We're going to launch April 15th. It's going to last a month. I have a pretty good feeling about it, that we're going to get what we need to go from there. Now let's talk about what's going on right now, which is the Never Hike Alone 2 crowdfunding fulfillment. Yes, the Never Hike Alone 2 campaign, which started in 2022, is finally being fulfilled. And I have received mixed appreciation and hate from people online. You know, thank you to all the people who have been very encouraging and have stuck with us on the updates and know that obviously, like, it's been a very trying production. You know, we've been chasing down some of our money from some of the entities that were kind of hanging on to it so we can invest it, get everything made. We had to find a new vendor and all of those different things. But Never Hike Alone 2 released in the fall of 2023. The Blu-ray was just about ready by the fall of 2024. And by the time we received it, it was earlier this year. We received earlier this year. We had to go through all of the process. We finally have them. We've been shipping them out. Right now we have about, we're just shy of 1,500 shipments sent out of roughly 3,900. So we are, I believe, 37% through shipping. We've mostly been focusing on, I don't have any around me, mostly been focusing on the first edition Blu-rays. Do I have any first editions around here? I don't believe I do. But one thing I do have are the Jarvis versus Jason Blu-rays. So these we've been holding back on only because when everything came in, hang on, I'll show you guys in a second. Boop, boop. When everything came in, I got it all at once, and we had to send stuff for Tom Matthews to sign. So every card, so this is like literally, I got them tabbed for every 100. So let me just pull this one off as an example. So on one side, inside, let's go through the whole thing. So as you get your disc, boom, you have your Blu-ray, the wraparound, the Jarvis versus Jason edition. Bam, when you open it up, here, let's get this right side up so it looks nice and nice. You got Jarvis and Jason. You got a Tom Matthews signature, a Vinny DiSanti signature, and I hand numbered all 1,000 Blu-rays. So how is this going to work out for everybody? Well, let's talk about that. Now that I got this, let me show you stuff. This one, yeah. Oh. Anyway, check this one out. Here's another black case one. Experiments. I was experimenting with all the cases. In fact, I have them all here. Maybe I'll show them to you all in a little bit, what all the alternatives look like. But we're going to stick to this guy. So anyway, the first 500, 1 through 500, the ones that were sold on the campaign, which I believe we sold like 498 and plus 2 extras after, those are all red cases. 501 through 1000 are all black cases. So everything has been hand numbered. Took me a couple days to do it. Took Tom a couple days to do it. Thank you, Tom, for going through all that and signing everything. He was a real trooper about it. So those just came in 2 days ago. I've had the Blu-rays, but all of that stuff just came in. But there's some other stuff in there too. Let me see. So if you got a Jarvis versus Jason bundle, part of that bundle was a set of 8x10s. Whoop, one of moi. So you get that signed with the gold pen. And then you get a Tom. He signed with silver. You get a Tom 8x10. I mean, these came out. These are like professional 8x10s. The guy Chili Printing in I think Burbank, who does all the Ron Sloan stuff. Ron Sloan was the one, speaking of part 5, right? Hooked us up. And this is who does all my stuff. So thank you, Ron, for the hookup. These came out great. So you get but one of each. And then let me get this. I just got to do the whole thing, or else I'm going to end up ripping them. A lot of posters here, guys. Okay, so you get the poster too, the 11x17 poster. If you get the Jarvis versus Jason bundle, check that out. These came out great. So that, and then for some of you, you've been waiting on these. Not Jarvis versus Jason bundle, but these were the Bill Hunt special edition posters. Woo! Look at that. Try not to get the light too much. Woo! Get it right in. Oh man, I'll tell you, I've been waiting on these. So anyway, all of that stuff finally here. Well, I gotcha. Since I said I would tease it, I got all these black cases, and I got all the alternative discs or the alternative slip covers. And so I threw them all on. So let's go through them again. Never Hike Alone 2. This is the hospital poster version, which is my personal favorite because it's the most like Jason Takes Manhattan, which is pretty rad. There's that Bill Hunt poster again. So that's the Bill Hunt. This one looks really slick on the black. So let me see. Never Hike Alone 2. This one's the Tommy one. That's a little bright, but the Tommy poster that we've had for a while kind of poses a Never Hike 1 and 2 poster, but we favored 2 for that one. We got the Face Off, which is nice, which this almost ended up being I almost did this for the box set, but we did something that's like this, but just a little different. Wait till you guys see it. It's going to be rad. All right, so that's that one. Let's go to Never Hike in the Snow. We have this one. Not too shabby. Then it gets a little simple. Understated, just a little snow. Boop, boop, boop. Got that guy. This one came out great. I almost released them like this as well. We've never released this package, so we may just offer these as one. Oh, hey, Casey. Everybody, Casey Dwayne Alexander. Good to see you, buddy. He's actually one of our newest, I think, APs, or at least he just got a missing persons post. So everybody say what's up to Casey because he just became a big-time backer for Ghost in the Fog. Here's another Never Hike Alone. Here's a Never Hike in the Snow. Actually, we never released, but I had printed anyway because I'm a dummy and I ordered extra. So these may become available eventually. Here's my personal favorite. The Never Hike Alone death metal version. Bang bong. And then this one's pretty cool too, with the Kyle poster. So this is another one that's pretty rad. Anyway, so those are all the alternatives. If you ordered alternative covers, that's what you're going to get. You either order them all or you ordered a handful of them. They all came out great. They're in good shape. I don't think there are any more. Somebody did order. Like you'll get them. Like, don't worry about the scribbles. This is the one I have to test the pen, so I had one for there, but you can kind of see how you grab it, drop them in. So there's all that. I think that covers it. I think, as far as there. So if you're watching this and you got your update too from Indiegogo and from Never Hike Alone 2, and you're like, where's my shit? It is coming. Basically right now the strategy is we focused on the first edition Blu-ray because we can just slip those in cases. We can get those out. They're very cheap. It's only at $4 to ship those. And we're able to, kind of rip through those really easy and get a high volume of shipments out. Same thing with the solo editions of these guys. We can get them out the door fast. The people who just ordered either the bundle or the Blu-ray, it's just a matter of the size of the package. It's the size of the envelope that we're using. If you got the bundle, you're getting, the 13 by 19 envelope. If you just got the Blu-ray, you're getting the 9 by 12 or something like that. And so we can label those and get those out really, really fast. Once we get those, completed, we're going to move on to the bundles. So the things that have t-shirts and sweatshirts and, lots of different things. That's when those are going to be coming together. I still don't have the VHS tapes yet. They should be here soon. I know I keep saying that, but that's all I can do, is that I know that they're only a couple weeks away, hopefully. And that once the VHS tapes lands, those will fly out easy. I have all the wrap things for those, so that shouldn't be a big deal. But yeah, it's going to take another month or two. Obviously, like I'm going to be, traveling to do a film. I'm going to be doing a film festival. I'm going to be here for filling. I'm going to be launching new campaigns. So in the process of in between of all of that and running a daily life and doing all of those things, we're going to be moving as fast as we can. I promise. I know it's taking a while. I know it's taken a long time, but welcome to the world of crowdfunding. I don't mean that in a condescending way. I just mean that this is grassroots. Like literally where I'm sitting right now doing this podcast from. This is the same place where I sit down and I do work from my desk to ship Blu-rays. I literally print from this little printer right here. We have another thermal printer over there. If I turn this camera, there's just shipping stuff everywhere. There's prepackaged Blu-rays. They're ready to go. And we're able to really rock it out. So all of that fun stuff is it's a lot of work. You know what I mean? And I got to give a shout out to my girlfriend Mo, who has done a majority of it so far. While I have been running around and doing work, she has been doing stuff during the day while I've been out, and while she's home in between work. So it's been really just a juggle of us, answering your emails and things like that. And if you have any questions about your order or anything like that, you can always just hit us up here at wompstompfilms@gmail.com. If you ever have any questions about your order, you want to order something, you saw something on tonight's podcast, you were like, hey, you flashed that alternative one, that alternative thing. Do you have any more of those? Yes, just hit me up. You shoot me an email there. We can go through PayPal. I can send you stuff directly and kind of like make it pretty easy. Keep things there. So I would like to go into the comments. I don't see any super chat. So if you want to ask a question right now at the 35-minute level, I would say ask it now. If you've already asked it, go back, copy and paste it and bring it front and kind of go from there. I'm going to start with Davey Deathray because he's giving me a shout out. Hey man, the real ones understand that it's an incredible amount of work to run a DIY endeavor. The anticipation is all a part of the excitement. I appreciate that, Davey. And yes, that is definitely, it's all DIY. You know what I mean? We're doing it here ourselves. We're hand packing everything. I'm hand signing everything. I don't know, too many independent filmmakers that are doing this much stuff. And look at Bruce dropping in. I'll get to your thing in a second, Bruce, but to answer Davey, thank you so much. Yeah, just getting it done day by day. You know what I mean? We get a little bit done. There's almost 4,000 orders. We're shipping to 52 countries around the world. There's a lot of work that goes into it. We don't want to screw up your orders. But I am really excited about the stuff that you are about to receive. There are some things that just landed recently, like the producer sweatshirts that came in and all of that stuff. I can't wait for people to get that stuff because those are some of the stuff that were like really, really kicks ass. The last Percocet is going to be a great day. Yes, it always is. We've done it many, many times. For many years, I shared this experience with my producing partner, Kyle Klein, who's out in Los Angeles still. And he would come over every weekend and we would ship until the sun went down and spend many hours after dark shipping as well. And it would always, I'd always send him off. We'd pack his Jeep with all the Blu-rays and be like, well, here it is. This is the last one. And he'd go off and drop it off at the UPS. So it's really, really good. Bruce, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for everything you've done in this to make this an amazing production. And thank you, Dr. Bruce Johnson, for all your contributions to all of the, Womp Stomp Films projects that you've backed over the years. You have some figures on the way. I can't wait for you to receive them because we have some special surprises for each one. We have some new vendors working on each one who are actually upgrades from what we were at. And we're going to make them even cooler than they were before. So really excited about that. Let's jump into Jamie's question. Will the super cut of all the NHA movies going to drop on YouTube? Yes, eventually it will. But since we've been running into this issue with Never Hike Alone and us releasing it. And when we try to bring it to film festivals, they always say, well, you have 5 million views on YouTube, so why do you need to be at our festival? And it's sort of like, because 5 million people watched it and they want to see it on a big screen, you could give them the opportunity to see it on a big screen, but there's sort of a back and forth to it. They don't like not being able to have something that's exclusive. So for the first time ever, and not to say we're going to keep it exclusive, for the run of our festival run for the Final Cut will exclusively play in 2 places: on your Blu-ray if you get it, and it will be in festivals. So first it's going to hit the festival circuit. People will be able to see it, talk about it, and be able to see it and talk about it only if they see it live. And then we're going to start shipping Blu-rays. People will be able to see that and Ghost in the Fog. Ghost in the Fog may be the thing that hits the web first. We may release that early, depending, if we get that into some festivals and play that around. And then once it's done a healthy run at festivals, we will then put it on YouTube for free, like we do everything else. Probably pick a Friday the 13th. There's 3 Friday the 13th next year, so lots of opportunities to do that next year and talk about that. And maybe as we get ready to launch that's when we can talk about launching eventually Never Hike Alone 3, which is something that I was planning on doing for 2026, depending on how that all goes. But that will be for the Final Cut, I should say. Right now, there is a super cut called the Ghost Cut, which is currently streaming right now, which is the full 2.5-hour version of all 3 films cut back to back to back. I really like the movie. I'm looking forward to it as a future surprise from past me to future me. Well, yeah, definitely. That's one of the cool things about this is that, like with crowd funds, as long as you invest, you feel like you're getting back what you wanted as the main product, which was the film. You really, it's just the patience. The patient pays off because you just go on with your life. You do what you do. And one day this package is going to arrive in your mail and it's going to brighten your day and you forgot it was even coming. And then all of a sudden, all this great stuff is going to arrive. So, that's going to be great. Tyler, I'm saying real one. Dominic, do you plan on making an original feature film? Yes. In fact, I'm working on an original feature film right now. The timeline for it, which I believe I could say because I'm talking in vagueness. I'm not telling you the, which film it is. But the timeline for it is to shoot it next year. Right now, we're in the process of doing script work. We're going to have to do all of the pre-production work this fall, all the prep work next early winter, and probably shoot it next spring or summer. But hopefully that all comes together. In the meantime, we're going to be putting together a series of short films shot here in Massachusetts. The first one is a project I'm working on called No Problemo. I'm actually looking for producers right now. So anyone in the chat, if you know anyone who's looking to become an executive producer on a short film, it's probably going to be about 5 to 10 minutes long. We're looking to raise roughly $10,000 to take care of the entire production. This is actually not a horror movie. It's a comedy movie. No Problemo is a film about this guy, Ted, who's dealing with a crazy deadline and an even worse work-life balance. And so he gets some help from some magical friends and learns a little lesson in his life. It's something that I've been wanting to make for a while. I have the perfect place to shoot it. I have the perfect team to shoot it. I'm casting it right now, and I'm hoping to shoot it sometime in late April. It's not something I really wanted to run to crowdfunding for just yet, unless I really, really have to. So we're looking for people who want to contact us at wompstompllc@gmail.com. If you'd like to become an executive producer, associate producer, co-producer, and help us raise some funding to get this movie going, reach out to me there, and we can see what we can do. This is going to be something that you're going to be tied directly into the film. This will be a film that goes directly into film festivals. It will eventually be on the Womp Stomp Films channel. We're looking for that. Beyond that, let me wait a second, my friends. There we go. After that, original stuff. There's a project working on called The Bonding, which we may be launching this fall. There's another couple of projects that I'm working on that I've mentioned in the past. And I do have to say that Ghost Chicken will be coming in early summer as well. So I think I showed you guys some stuff for that. Did I? Let me look. Did I share anything for Ghost Chicken? I don't think I have. I haven't showed you guys the new stuff. Well, I don't really have the finalized new stuff. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on Ghost Chicken. We're gonna do some updates, but we're doing a graphic novel. It's gonna start there, so we're working on expanding on that. Ghost Chicken is another original concept, and there's plenty of original stuff I'm going to be working with. I'll be partnering with my good friend Cortland Gordon in a couple of weeks for something that's fan film related. I'll be working with another good friend of mine, Steven Slosh, in a few weeks to work on something original. And there's a group of people around here that we're basically getting together and just trying to shoot something of like once-ish a month. No Problemo is one of those things. It's one of the smaller ideas. And so, yeah, hopefully we can get that off the ground pretty soon. I know, Allie, I say the same thing. Will you keep us posted on the festival viewings? Yeah. So when the final cut is finished and it starts getting into festivals, we will be announcing where it is playing everywhere. We're going to try and make it as accessible, especially to backers, as possible. One to keep in mind is Crystal Lake Nightmares, which is happening in Burbank this August. That's our goal, to do the world premiere. We're hoping to get in for that. I think it could happen, but we'll see. So you don't know if you remember, but you recorded a short clip for my review of NHA2 on my channel. I still really appreciate you doing that for me. I always recommend your movie. I do remember doing that, Jamie, and I always have fun, making videos for people. Like we're going to be playing Never Hike Alone 2 in Germany this year. In October, I believe they're doing it. Oh, no, they're doing it for Friday the 13th in June. So there's going to be a screening of Never Hike Alone 2 in Germany, which is really cool. I have to do an introduction, which I have to say something in German, and I always screw it up, but I have to do it. Did I receive a call from Sean Cunningham? I wish Sean would call me. I have met him multiple times. He's a nice guy, but we haven't. He hasn't offered me. I mean, he doesn't have any power over it anymore anyway. I need a new movie titled Jason's Next Friday, a Jason X prequel. All right, we could do that. With your love for Jason and Friday the 13th, what other film franchise do you have a passion for and would want to make as a film? A Godzilla movie. Steve coming in with the answer right there. I would love to do a Godzilla movie. I would love to do a Critters movie. I would love to do a Predators movie. I would love to do, I love Batman. I would love to do a Batman movie one day. I like adventure. You know what I mean? Like I love action, adventure, and all that stuff. You know what I'd love to do? I would love to direct an Ace Ventura movie. I think Jim Carrey should do an Ace Ventura 3. I think that should be his last role, and I would love to be a part of that. I would do a Killer Clowns movie, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I would do a Killer Clowns from Outer Space movie for sure. Let me see, what other franchises do I really like and like to play around in the sand on? I mean, I have an idea for a Halloween fan film that I think is like, it was one we almost made, and I want to change it just a little bit because I have an idea, and I've pitched it on this thing before about how to do it. I think it would be a really cool film. I think that it would be the only time I would ever personally act in something, because I feel like I know what to do, and I would have to get someone to co-direct it with me. But I want to do one more Halloween fan film. Kind of do that. We're going to do Evil Dead. Oh, yep, I would do an Evil Dead Western. That would be fun. In fact, I have a couple things like that. There's a few original ideas that I have on the table that are going to make their way into. I was just checking the clock for Davey, so I don't step on his toes. I'm thinking that if you guys like what we do with Ghost Chicken in a few months, when we launch that as a graphic novel, that if you like that and the way that we do that, I love working with Scott Gregory. If you guys haven't backed Rip to Shreds yet, or you don't know anything about the Rip to Shreds Kickstarter, definitely check that out. He's the one who's helping me out. Apostrophe Books, they're helping me put together Ghost Chicken. We have amazing artists working on this already. And I can't wait to start showing you some of the progress with that. But once we get through this, if this is successful, I have a few projects, one being The Beginning of the End, which is a big zombie epic. you know, it's actually not even that huge of a zombie epic movie, but it's a great, I think, a great script that I wrote that I would love to see come to life. There's another one I wrote called 86, which would be really cool and see come to life. And there are a few other short films and other things like that that I've done that maybe I do like a, you know, a crypt, you know, not a crypt, Tales from the Crypt, but also what's that other thing? Creep Show, that we do like a Creep Show comic where I could do like 3 or 4 Womp Stomp Films ideas, short film ideas that I never really got off the ground for actually filming them. That these are things that become graphic novel entries and sort of stuff like that. So if that becomes, and because the production of that is actually pretty affordable in terms of what we'd have to raise versus what we'd have to, you know, what we'd have to spend in order to make it. I think that those are, you know, it's between $5,000 and $7,000 to get like a publication done on a crowdfund. So I think that we have the chutzpah to do that. We've done pretty well, right? Hopefully you guys are here to support the original stuff. That would be great. I reckon you could make a great Stephen King's It Pennywise feature. I would love to work in the world of Stephen King. In fact, I was once tapped to do a version of Strawberry Spring, which I wrote with the original writing partner I had on Never Hike Alone, Nate McLeod. We did a pass of that. Apparently went to Stephen King, and Stephen King really liked. I still have that script. I still have that pitch deck, and sometimes I want to do it. Oh, I see something out of the corner of my eye. I can't talk about this yet, but I got a text out of the blue from somebody that I used to work with. That's all I'll say, is that I used to work with them. And if I told you who it was, you'd be like, holy crap. I've worked with a lot of people in my career. I've been extremely lucky to work on several projects with A-list talent who we got to know each other as friends and got to work as co-workers. I got hit up by one the other day because we were both working on a movie together many, many moons ago. We're in around like 2014. I was hired as an assistant to go and work on this film. It went all the way to the day before you're supposed to leave for prep, and the film got shut down. And ever since then, let me take you down, Jamie. I don't want to put you on blast. And ever since then, I've been like, that's the movie that got away. I would have loved to have worked on that. That would have been such a great experience. And so the other day I got texted from that person saying the film's back up. They're pitching it to people and they might get it made. And I still had all the pitch materials that I did and everything that I got ready for them. And so don't throw away your hard drives, back up all your stuff, because you never know when a project is going to come back up. I've heard, like, the last story I heard was like a guy I met who it took 7 years to get his project off the ground. The feature that I'm working on right now, I've been working on since 2018, and it's finally just getting legs to maybe make it to the theater. I mean, make it to the screen. So never give up on your projects. In film and Hollywood, you hear it all the time, like projects go dormant for 10 years, and then all of a sudden it gets picked up, it gets made, and it's the next Oscar winning thing. You never know. But this is a project I'm extremely proud of. If I end up on it, I may be gone for a couple of months. I'm gonna have to leave the country. It's gonna be pretty cool. But I'll let you guys know how that goes, and that may be the exciting thing. But in the meantime, we have a lot going on for our own world, and we can't wait to get going with that. Let me see. Anybody asking questions? The hitchhiker from Creature Shoe scared the crap out of me. So when my mom used to drop me off at school as a kid, I used to turn around and like hold the door open and I'd go, "Thanks for the ride, lady," and then like slam the door in her face and like run off to school. It was like our running gag because we always watched the Creep shows together. I want to work on some gnarly, ambitious CG stuff. I got the CFX suits, chops, and a lot of tech include in a couple of mocap suits. Tyler, we need to talk. And the thing I'm working on in a couple of weeks, I know that Cortland can do a lot of his own effects, but maybe we should loop you in to help out because it's definitely going to be fun. And yeah, there's some ideas that I have that I think would be really, really rad that need VFX help. And I've been told I get told by a Blumhouse producer that one of them was like too expensive. And then I saw somebody do it with like no money. Like a couple weeks ago. So I'm like, I think that this can be done. Sorry for being late to the dance, but hey, Vincent and chat, I hope you hope you enjoyed my post today. I did, Eric. Thank you so much. A lot of people are jealous because you have all those signatures. So I got hit up with a lot of requests afterwards for signatures and stuff like that. And if you want to have a signature sent to your house, you can hit me up here at wompstompllc@gmail.com. We can work something out on PayPal, and I can send you stuff. One other thing I want to go over. Bing bong bing. Oh, someone's messaging me over here. Let me check this real quick. Okay, he sent the link there. Thank you, Davey. I want to check something for you guys real quick. Upcoming appearances. Boop boop. Updates. Let's see. Okay, so we have Monster Expo. Well, New Bedford Film Festival is coming up April 10th to the 13th in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Make sure you get your tickets. If you're in the New England area, I highly suggest you come down, hang out, meet the filmmakers of Southern New England. There's going to be people traveling from all over the world to the festival. The film, this year's festival is going to be held at Steeple Playhouse and Gallery X. I am the acting 2025 New Bedford Film Festival co-technical director. So we've upgraded everything from shooting on small screens to big screens this year. So everything's going to be up on big projected screens. Everything is in walking distance this year. And basically counting down to the day that we can be in the Zeiterion Theater. So that's going to be 10th through the 13th. You can get tickets. I'm going to be running a panel on Friday at 2 p.m. about crowdfunding and fundraising for your films. A few weeks later is going to be Monster Expo in Fairhaven, Massachusetts, April 26th through the 27th, with Tom Matthews, CJ Graham, Linnea Quigley, and Eugene Clark. A few months after that, in July 26th through 27th, another Monster Expo, this one in Nashua, New Hampshire. And I will be alongside Kane Hodder and Miko Hughes from Dylan's New Nightmare. So it's going to be a great Never Hike Alone 2 reunion in Fairhaven, a Dylan's New Nightmare reunion in Nashua. I'm hoping to be, I can't officially announce it, but I'm supposed to be somewhere around Crystal Lake Nightmares, Burbank, California, August 8th through 10th. That's all pending. And then there's something called Pop Culture Con in Quakerstown, Pennsylvania. That will be happening November 15th, 2025. More details will be coming with that as well soon. And then there are a few other people that I've been chatting with about doing appearances. I may be at Mad Monster this year alongside Cecil and the horror show team. Hopefully some reunion with some of my Dylan's New Nightmare folk. Let me see. I want you to do something with Nathan Fillion one day. That could happen. I mean, I know Nathan. He wasn't the one who texted me, but I do know Nathan. Let's see. I'd love to see you do a version of Seasons of Belief from Tales of the Dark Side. Kind of reminds me of a story scene in Never Hike Alone. That could be something. Let me see. Scariest thing I ever watched growing up was a BBC broadcast which fooled the nation, which banned and had to record most complaints, called Ghost Watch. Ever heard of it? I have not, but I should definitely check it out. The vacuum episode from Tales from the Dark Side scared the hell out of me. Let me see. I still need to get a hold of you about a shirt, a beanie, and a hood bundle. After this, I can put one of those up on the website. If not, you can just email me and I'll put together. You just give me your size. I'll put together an order for you. We can just take care of you there. And there's Jacob Thompson. There he is. Hello, Governor. Let me see. It's 8:56. I'm going to get running to Davy's stream pretty soon. But what's up, Jacob? I got some of your stuff. I've been putting it off to the side for you. You got a big package coming, buddy. You got a decapitated Jason. You got a full-on Camp Crystal Lake sign. He get Jacob here, who, oh, let me do this. Boop, Jacob there. Fantastic costume maker, effects artist. He's getting the Camp Crystal Lake sign that Tom Matthews steps on at the beginning of Never Hike Alone 2 when we pan up and see him going to the camp. He's getting that sign. He's getting the decapitated head bust of Jason that we used on the shore and all that stuff. So he's got a huge package for Never Hike Alone coming. So that's going to be all that fun stuff, plus all the movies and all the posters and all that fun stuff. He's got, him and his mom got sweatshirts coming, producer sweatshirts, which are really came out great, dude. I can't wait for you to see them. And all of that stuff. So I'm going to start to do the real wrap up here. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and hanging out with me. I didn't know if I was going to be able to fill an hour, but man, that flew by. Tonight, remember, the Kickstarter for Never Hike Alone, the Final Cut, is closing. If you've already backed, don't worry. You'll have a chance when the Indiegogo for Ghost in the Fog launches on April 15th to continue adding to your order. The Indiegogo and the Kickstarters will be combined into one shipment down the line, so don't worry about that. If you want to grab anything and you haven't off of the thing tonight, anything you purchase tonight carries over to the next campaign. So if you buy a Blu-ray, you're getting one of the new special edition Blu-rays that are going to be posted on the new campaign. If you bought a previous version of the Ghost Cut, which is the 92-minute one, I believe. I think it's 92 minutes. If you got that previous version from a previous campaign, you're going to be able to say, hey, I spent money on that one, but I want the new one. You'll be able to get that at a discount. If you got the Camp Collector perk, that's going to roll over. Things are going to roll over, and we're going to have discounts for people who have previously backed previous campaigns. Or if you're waiting for the new campaign, you're just going to pay whatever price we end up posting everything for that, which everything's going to stay mostly the same. It's not like we're not gouging or anything. We're keeping things roughly what you guys have been familiar with. But I figure I'd just say you can save some time and do it now. So just as a reminder, I'm heading over to Davey Deathray's channel right after this. We're going to be watching a live stream of Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. If Jason still haunts you, you're not alone. So this video should actually automatically send you over there if I programmed it correctly. So I will see most of you over there in a little bit. I'm going to take a 5-minute break to drink some of this water, get hydrated, lube up this voice, and get ready to talk about some stuff. I wonder if Ron Sloan's going to join us. He better. Ron, if you're not watching now, you better be watching in a few minutes. So anyway, I hope with that said, I hope everyone has a great weekend this weekend. Stay safe, take care of each other. If you have any questions, again, email me at wompstompfilms@gmail.com. I can help you out with whatever you're doing. You have a safe and wonderful weekend. And until next time, everybody, I will see you on the trails.